Right, so I'm sitting here with Ino doing post commentary on WAFA that happened last week Sunday, and we're just gonna be talking through, what happened in the race and doing some post commentary on the ride itself, right?
Yeah, boy, and you should mention yourself as well. I'm sitting with Eugene. I'm not having you sit here anonymously commenting on this and see what went down and share how the day unfolded.
Yeah, so very very excited to get into the footage. Yeah, so I mean 3 jerseys up for grabs, the sprint and overall win. Yeah, so let's dive straight into the ride.
Pretty flat route in the south, very windy.
Yeah.
Good turn up, I must say.
No, definitely. I mean,
Had the likes of Azlali Nawe came through, ECC, their hosting, came out in large numbers as well. You've had Vaki coming through. You've had the Beast Scooter, one-man army.
Yeah, we're not sure if he was riding for himself or Siata or Vaki.
You have the likes of 189 Exchange.
Yeah.
They came through. We had almost elites.
Yeah, as you can see, I mean, we were pretty much together most of the time. And we also had Tejo that's showing up in shot now. And London as well, riding for Team Xfinity.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ride is kicking off here at the Mall of the South Robots after a 2-3 kilometer neutral zone and off to a very aggressive start, I must say. I mean, just from the word go, it sets, the pace is set quite high.
Yeah. So, I mean, lots of riders pulling in through here. And already we had our first attack, I think, off the front here. Scooter went ahead, and I think the peloton was just trying to catch up to him now.
And I think Vugani also came in. I'm not sure if we mentioned them.
Yes, that's another big
Vugani
team.
Here at the back with Shoni and Toto. They came in and they were quite key players on the day there.
Yeah. So as you can see, the riders are digging deep to try and chase a single rider that's up ahead.
We see quite a lot of us Dalnawe members there. We
Yeah.
see those 4, and there's another 1, 2, 3 there. Quite 7 members there came through from us Dalnawe. Straight up, we've got Lizo from Almost Elite, quite powerful rider. They're pulling quite aggressively, trying to chase ahead. And I think they had Scooter who went off. He's the man everybody's watching from last year's WAFA.
Yeah, so this is pretty much the chasing group that's chasing Scooter, and we had Tabang pulling there. We flicked over Cabello.
Wow, Cabello. It's interesting to see him pulling like that and trying to close off that gap. Quite a massive gap.
Yeah,
new guy there, new team in the space, 189 Exchange. I think that's Steven working behind him.
Yes. Very powerful team. They had a few guys here as well. Pretty interesting that Cabello's, small rider, but he's pulling here on the flats trying to chase Scooter.
I haven't seen this side of him. Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, we know him for his climbing.
Distance is created.
Absolutely.
Scooter.
Powerful.
He's setting the scene, my guy, from the beginning. He's saying, listen, I could probably do this again and again. So watch out.
And in fact, I think the peloton is probably alarmed by this because obviously it's quite early to go.
You expect him to be conservative
Exactly.
and perhaps to be, hiding in the bunch there. And there you see on your left, there seeing Tao from Azlal now, quite key strong rider.
Yeah.
We've got to your left as well there, Voice, chairman of Vaki.
Super domestic.
It's very, very
You remember what he did last year? He was very critical in the Crosswinds and trying to split that bunch.
He did a lot of work for Scooter. We've got Sboo from 189 Exchange coming across from Vugani. Interesting to see him here riding against his former teammates, Vugani.
The chase is still on,
on.
I mean, Almost Elites are trying to get themselves involved there with Steven.
We've got Vugani in the mix. I think that's Vugani's Brian there, followed by Voice. And there's Tabang there. He's a naughty guy, Tabang. Tabang is always the one that keeps he interrupts the bunch and he
terrorizes most of the time.
Exactly. He
So nice peloton there, all grouped together, still chasing this one man.
Look at him.
Very aero, eh?
Extremely aero. And big ups to him, I must mention, the move over to Seattle.
Yeah.
It's quite big for his cycling career
absolutely.
there. And big ups as well to Vaki for helping give the men a springboard. I mean, this is what we want to see in cycling.
Absolutely. I mean,
black community, people growing.
Yes.
And I think they've also taken across from Bazala Marias.
Yes.
So big ups for that, man. That's good to see.
And I think Scooter's doing very well in Seattle. I mean, I think he's still getting support from the Vaki guys, but I think he's been showing himself. Even in Cape Town, you remember what he did there, showing himself in the wind there. There's Ronnie now.
A man in red wheels. Always quite a key domestic. I like how Ronnie rides.
Yeah, very selfless.
And there's Claudius Exaro there. He's there in the mix. I mean, he's by himself, unfortunately, today. But we'll see what he can do without any teammates.
Attacked by Gerard now. Scooter has been caught, so Gerard sees an opportunity to go ahead. No response from the peloton as yet. I mean, we just see Toto up in front. Smooth cadence.
And I think the thing with Gerard is that I think he's a new player in that space.
No one knows him.
Exactly. So he's a good card to play for ECC in the sense that nobody knows whether to look out for him or not. He has no history.
Yeah.
There we see almost elites lining up their men there. The road wasn't too bad. Couple of potholes there and then. Big ups to the organizers for ensuring that the route is a safe one. I mean, when you're riding at this pace, hitting a pothole,
46 k's an hour. Imagine hitting a hole. That could be the end of your ride, eh? Tell us about the wind here, man. I mean, what is going on here?
I think at this point it's pretty much a tailing wind, and I think we're off to a very fast start here because of that tailing wind. There you see the Vukani mates. There you see Nati, you see Shoni, you see Bongane, and you see Amakweli's Mondays in the mix, and Beats sitting at the back.
Dumo is at the back there.
Almost elites lining up their men again there. You can see very, very fast start there in the tailing wind. We've turned left after this, and they send off Gerard.
No, Gerard's still in front, so he attacked from the go there. He hasn't been caught as yet. I think
is it Gamo?
That looks like Gamo. It looks like Gamo's riding style. So I think he was busy chasing his teammate there.
I think that was a bluff from ECC throwing up Gerard in there. I don't think he was going for it.
Yes,
but it does obviously make some people question what's happening there.
It actually forces the peloton to ride. Instead of just everyone riding together, there's now a concerted chase to bring him back.
Well, it's a bit of a drag before the real climb. Some of the names, some of the guys we'd expect to be going for this one.
Yeah, so I think Tlotlo has a score to settle.
Scooter
for sure. Mazola has won it before, so he is probably one of the riders to watch out for.
Yep.
And I think there's a very talented climber from Azlal Nawe,
Debza.
Yes, we should see him in action as well. Steven, I think, is also one guy.
You can see him already going up there, positioning.
So Tlotlo's just trying to make it hard early on the climb, separating the men from the boys, as you normally would say.
And you can see almost Elite's Mandla also trying to catch on to this, and you can see the break happening there. He's in scope there, and it's pretty much breaking. And I think part of a big chunk of the guys we've mentioned are already part here. But Voice, surprisingly, is in the mix.
Yeah, I wouldn't note Voice as a calm kind of guy, but I think we all know how powerful he is.
You know what's interesting for me here today with the likes of Voice and the likes of Scooter and Siata, you're not really sure whether they're working together or they're just opponents. It's an interesting observation there.
Yeah, maybe the guys can let us know in the comments down below what exactly was happening and what was the dynamic, because I'm very interested to know what is going on here. Ronnie stamping on those pedals, eh?
Yep. Getting closer to that line. See the peloton is grouped up again. I think they brought back the little break that formed there. Pretty scattered riding, but it's intact.
Yeah.
Everyone's riding together. You would think that it's strung out, but it's not a steep climb.
Yes.
It's not your typical comp.
It's only really 400 meters
Yeah.
or so. That's quite steep.
There's the man, Debza, you were talking about. And there's mates there as well now behind
I
him.
love the way they're riding together.
You see Vugani there, Bongani. 189 exchange. Almost deletes. Monde. And I think the guys here at the back, I think those are the guys that I say, listen, we're going to save some energy. We're not going for this. Let the climbers contest for it.
Here's Ronnie contesting now, and we've got Debza, who's on the wheel.
Interesting. I almost wonder, is Ronnie aware who's on his wheel at this point?
Do you think he should be working with Debza here?
I mean, when you see him slowing down, it's almost as if he expects his teammate to be there.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like, it looks like a lead out.
Exactly.
As you can see, some cat and mouse going on at the back there. I think it's Veni trying to lose a few people off his wheel. Another player we forgot to mention is Tejo.
Yes,
who's a big contender for the GOM here.
Yeah, a bit of a gap that Ronnie's
absolutely. I mean, Debs are still in front.
They've let him go quite far. I think this is dangerous. It's interesting that they let Mrembula go this far. I mean, if you think about it at this point, it's less than a kilometer to the line.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And he's a small boy. He doesn't have much weight. He can climb.
Yes. I think, if he created the gap initially, it's very easy for him to go to the line
Not
alone.
sure what they were doing with Ronnie there. I think he meant to lead out somebody and he wasn't there. Now he just finds himself in the midst because I would guess he's not their best climber, and perhaps I wonder if he was the man they were playing for this.
I don't think so, but we'll have to find out pretty soon. So
he's there at the bottom there, cat and mouse. It's going left and right, and
yeah. This is some exciting.
Again, look at the gap that Rembula has created.
They still haven't caught him.
Yeah, Mazola is.
Not sure what happened here.
It
looks like a lead out that went wrong.
Yeah, Mazola is not pleased at all.
Yeah,
and Vini doesn't look apologetic either. New member there, Polisi, almost elites, new sign.
Yes, very excited for him. He's an all-rounder, so very, very excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, the man came all the way from Durban from WAFA. I think WAFA is becoming more and more popular. It's gained so much momentum over the years.
I really want to see other guys from other provinces come and compete here.
Yeah.
Right.
189. Aslan Nawe.
That's David.
Exaro. Spoo, Monde, Olisi. Stay from Vaki was there.
Yeah,
almost elites leading them out.
He was teasing us saying next time we must bring him an almost elite top because he was in between our train here.
Lizo from almost elites, Mandla almost elites, key climber, Ino in the front, pulling. A good day. The weather is great, I must say. Sun shining well.
Yeah.
Just at the door of winter. And then the problems start.
So you have Toto and Mazola. Very competitive riders. I mean, in the first WAFA, they were distributing jerseys amongst themselves. So they're going on the attack here. Okay, so and I think it was a little riser somewhere in Walkerville.
It's quite interesting to see who comes in to join the party here.
Yeah. But I mean, so far they're working pretty well together. There's no signs of them, busy playing politics. So they really just want to establish the gap from the peloton and then start.
There is teammates, and I think is also the ECC's captain, Nati, joins the party. Now you got 2 against 1 there.
Yeah. But is that a factor, you think? I mean, should Toto be pulling less? Should he be pulling more? Should he be attacking? And we've got a 4th member now who's joined. Veni just joined.
It's pretty much an ECC, breakaway. with Kloklo. I think, to your question, he probably has to do some work. I think the Breakaway, makes a lot of success if you take fair turns. And most importantly for them, it's because you only have ECC and Exaro there in front. Yeah. There's a lot of potential to bring them back from the likes of Vaki, from the likes of Almost Elites, the likes of Vugani, the likes of Azlal Nawe. So definitely, I think Toto would have to work there to make that Breakaway a success.
Yeah, pulling through is Veni, followed by Nati and Mazola.
Seem to be working well.
Yeah, so this looks very smooth. There's no surging that's happening. You can tell these are very experienced riders.
Yep.
Experienced Breakaway riders at that as well.
Yep. Very ambitious attempt, I must say, with the line being about 60 Ks from here. And the other thing is that it's pretty windy out there.
Yeah.
Going towards Sekerbosi, a lot of wind coming from the left there.
But would you say, are they underestimating the power of the peloton here by going out so early?
I think they're taking their chances. It's good riders. Mazola, Vini, Nati, Klotlo. It is a dangerous combination. I think they're strong riders, but I think then what makes things a little tricky and difficult for them is the fact that there is no one from Vaki in here. There is no one from Almost Elite in here.
And Vugani.
There's no one from Vugani here. So, then those are the guys that will be working to bring them back.
Okay.
Nati. I like Nati. He's a very humble guy.
Absolutely. Very selfless as well. He's one of those guys that are willing to sacrifice themselves for the benefit of the team and for the benefit of his teammates as well.
Mazola sitting at the back there. He's had quite some fun on the bike. I think he rode track at some point.
Yeah.
Big ups for him there. I think he's a bit of a diverse rider in that sense. He's really.
And I think it's worth noting that he was podiuming at track.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I think at Gauteng Champs he either got second or third, which is very impressive for a guy that just started track.
Wow.
So Toto as well, mountain biker.
Wow. Yeah.
Very talented guy, probably one of the best.
Very humble guy as well.
Yeah.
Very, very humble guy. Very strong guy. Look at how he rides. His cadence is just so smooth. And he seems to be enjoying himself on the bike. And it's a pity he didn't have teammates here. I think there are some Exaro members that would have been of great value to him here on the day.
He did have teammates, I remember, from the first WAFA that we had.
Yeah.
So the guys are still working quite well together. Smooth rotations happening. It doesn't look like anyone's doing less work than the other. It all looks like it's equal share for the time being.
God bless South Africa. Look at the sun shining there. Great day to be riding out on the saddle.
Absolutely. With the breeze smacking your face right now.
What do you think is happening in the peloton?
I think there's definitely a chase that's happening. I think the teams have maybe organized themselves to bring this back because they recognize how dangerous this is.
Yeah, look at the gap it's formed. It's done some good damage, I must say, given that it's just ECC.
Yes.
You would expect that the opponents, manage this before it gets too bad. Do you think they're underestimating this?
Not at all. I think they recognize that 4 strong riders went up the road, so I think they'll definitely be trying to bring it back. But it also, creates some sort of stability in the peloton as well, where you don't have all of these counter attacks happening every now and again. Looks like a very high pace here. The guys are very aero here, putting in the watts. So
extremely high. If you think about it, the numbers don't allow them to relax because they've got very little defense in terms of the peloton. And there's very little people to slow down the peloton to make them, get away successfully. So they would have to really put the hammer down there.
Yeah, we saw a counter attack from Brian from Vugani, followed by Ronnie, who is basically getting a free lift to his teammates, which would be awesome if there was 4 ECC guys up the road.
And I just saw Scooter in the peloton, and maybe there's your answer. I think the riders just thought if Scooter is not in that break, we don't have to worry.
I see Tabo there at the back.
Beats from Vaki is there. Spoo, Steven, Scooter, Eno.
Okay, I think we're about to 10 left. And who's pulling here? It's Hloni.
Very experienced rider, Hloni.
Yeah, I mean,
powerful, I think. He rode the Gauteng champs very well a couple of months back. They out in the cradle.
Yeah.
There he is. He has this thing about his riding that he just sets a number, and I think Vugani in general it's a numbers game in Vugani.
Yeah,
they're very big on numbers.
They always talk about holding a certain number,
and so Hloni will set the right number for the pace and what he wants to achieve. And I think he was going for 260 watts there to try to say, let's stick to this number, and slowly we're gonna bring that breakaway back.
That really shows the experience he has. Because I think there'll be a lot of panic, a lot of surging in the peloton if you don't hold a constant number. So I think very experienced in that.
It's a patience game, I think.
Yeah. So we're on a descent right now towards Cheese Factory.
Lizo from Almost Elites. Behind him, Eno and the newly signed Mkolisi as well, sitting there
in the Aerotuck. Very fast descent, this one.
Yeah.
And I think it got dangerous at times a little bit. But, luckily no one crashed, no one got injured or hurt.
Left turn into Cheese Factory they're about to take. You always expect a big surging on this turn because you got tremendous braking from the downhill, and then suddenly there's a little bit more of a downhill and it goes very fast. London, good to see him back on the bike. 1.9.
So this is the demonstration of of an accordion effect where the front riders takes the corners at high pace and the guys at the back need to catch up.
Look at the damage it does. Riders getting scattered everywhere. Xinity's London, Tepiso 1.9 in the mix there. They rode quite well for somebody who claims to be unfit. He's been off the bike for some time.
And I mean, congratulations to him on the newborn.
Monde, the man from Abakweli.
He came here alone.
He left his jersey at home as well. And he's just the man in black today saying, listen, I'm just here to ride.
This is a good view of the peloton. And it's still Hloni in front, holding that constant number. And here's our leading group.
Mazola feeding there. They've lost Nati, it looks like.
Yes. After hearing that he suffered a puncture, very disappointed because I think he would have been very, very key in making this breakaway successful.
Yeah, like I said, when you look at the angry man in the peloton, Almost Elite, Vaki, Aslal Nawe, Vugani, they're hunting this group down. It's not an ideal combination.
Yeah, and I think the road here kind of suits the bunch, so to speak, because it's pretty flat, it's windy. The bunch can take even turns, and they've got more men and they've got more firepower to bring it back. So with only 3 riders up front, it's very hard to stay away.
You see Almost in Elites as well as Vugani working together to try and bring this back. You see Lizo there in front pulling with Hloni from Vugani, and I think Vugani's Brian is also there in front.
I think Vugani had a few guys here towards the front, so they definitely were keen to bring it back because obviously they're not represented in the break, so they want things to come together. We've got Eno here coming through to do some work. You were telling me it was quite expensive here.
You can imagine. I mean, this sponge is probably doing around 50 k's an hour at this point, and it is pretty much a headwind we're looking at here. So to pull this sponge under these conditions is very expensive. You probably have to sit at around 350-400 watts at a time. You see Tabang coming in front there, to disrupt things because his teammates are up ahead.
Well, it's a clever tactic. I mean, you can't take it away from him.
No, definitely. I was there talking to him there in front and say, hey, we know what you're trying to do. We don't want ECC in front here. We're working. Very good communication between Almost Elites and Vugani there, working together to fix the damage that's been done by the group ahead.
Yeah. So Kamo here doing exactly the same thing that his teammate was doing a few moments earlier, trying to disrupt the chase. But, you were well aware of it.
Spot on. You can see 189 exchange and Vaki quite relaxed at the back, as if they have a man ahead. That was interesting to observe.
Yeah, so I think maybe they were relying on Almost Elites and Vugani to do a lot of the chasing, but very conservative from them.
I think also they probably thought that, I think they didn't feel much threatened by that breakaway.
I would be worried if I was there.
London in the front working. Whoa!
It's been a while since I've seen this man in the front of a ride. But he's coming into good form. Very excited to see him back.
He's doing some work there.
Yeah. Still quite a big peloton here. I mean, this is still the A group. Obviously, we still have B riders and ladies still part of the WAFA.
Almost Elites in front, working hard with Vugani to bring it back. You can see just blue, red, and black there in front. You can see Tsejo there. I think they're communicating well with his mate London.
So I think London was working for Tsejo here.
Lots of work happening here. Lots of fixing to be done, and you can see the team's working well there in front to fix it.
Yeah. Taking a sip after his shift.
You have to. Big respect to Shoni. You can tell he's been riding for a while. He knows what he's doing. So he's got power, and the way he deploys it, he dishes out those watts.
Yeah. I think he's very key in these types of rides, so other riders can learn from him, learn what he can do on the bike.
Again, the naughty Tabang coming in front to distract. Yeah. Lizo takes it. It says, we don't want this to see.
You can see the pain faces here on everyone's faces. Quite a hard pace. The breakaway is probably still in sight here.
I think it was starting to come back at this point.
Yep.
You could see it. And
so I think the peloton is just trying to make sure that it comes back.
Look at Shoni. He looks at it. He's patient. And he just sticks to his numbers and takes a bow to the head, looking at his screen there to try and stick to that 260 watts he's talking about.
Yep. Okay, his fellow teammates now pulling through.
See Brian communicating there, saying, listen, let me help you now. Don't ride yourself to the ground. We have them in sight. We've got them.
See Vugani is riding together this. I like it. Got Owen there at the back. Also part of the action.
Almost Elites lining up their men there, trying to move forward.
Kev's got Tay here. We haven't really spoken about Tay. I mean, he's riding license category this year.
Oh,
so he's graduated and left us in the alphabet soup. So yeah, pretty strong rider as well.
He is strong, and I think his mate voice and other mate beats that they have here also sitting at the back today. I think he's being very conservative, perhaps not having a good day on the saddle, or perhaps they have plans for him later in the ride. Again, we've got London in front doing some work. And there's one person that I know is passionate about cycling, it's definitely London.
Absolutely. So I mean, he's done a lot for the cycling community as well, and I think he was very critical in organizing initial stages of WAFA.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got a good view of the gap to the breakaway. They should be coming in shot now, but cars in between. Obviously we don't own the roads, but we ride alongside some of the cars. So yeah,
looks like Mazola is saying the same. I think they are here. We've got company.
Yeah,
maybe we should drop the pace. I mean, we're still 50 k's odd to the line.
And they're pretty relaxed here. You know, they're chatting and holding each other. It's quite nice to be in the break if you look at this.
Very good teammates. I think after a bit of a hurdle they hit on that com, that they're now hugging and they've moved on from it.
That's good teamwork.
That's good recovery from that. You move on from the milk that spilled.
Yes. And you try again. And we can see them here, they're trying again.
Hundreds.
Okay, so everything should be coming back together. What do you expect when it all comes back together now?
Obviously, I think it's an aggressive bunch. I think the bunch is very restless. There's no peace in there.
Yes.
I think as soon as it all comes together again, you obviously expect the next rocket to launch.
Yeah, but I think with 50Ks to go,
I think the people don't care.
They just want to make it hard, I think, eh?
Thought feeling the heat, getting hot and saying, listen, I need to take this off. I need to breathe. We are working here.
It is Tabang, the disruptor, going again.
They've been caught.
Okay, Breakaway is now caught. And it's all together.
ECC immediately launches.
Yeah.
2 riders up ahead. We've got Klo and Tabang.
So I think they're playing it quite smart here because, you know, they just caught their Breakaway teammates. So they're thinking they can go again.
Launch it again.
Panic from the peloton here, do you think?
Nah, I don't think so. I think the peloton has observed that the key riders to look out for are in the bunch, and perhaps I think they could see that this might be a mock attack here.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's just ECC up ahead.
Yep, exactly. 2 teammates.
Exactly. No opponents.
In the wind. So
how far can they go?
Exactly. So cool. So I think here they're probably experiencing a left to right. You see Tabang riding on the right hand side of Tlotlo.
You can see him looking back to see what's the response here. and when he looks back like that, you know that he's trying to, stimulate a reaction and harass the bunch. And he's trying to see the results of his effort there, I think. He's trying to see who's falling for the trap.
Yeah. But he's not coming through here to help to Tlotlo here.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. Maybe he wasn't feeling okay on the day. Because I would expect them to start rotating here, but Tlotlo's doing large portions of the work.
Yeah.
Kede is coming through now, finally.
Yeah, he's helping his mate there.
Okay.
Big bunch. Again, Shoni in front. He's putting down the hammer. He's pacing, keeping the pace high.
Very interesting formation there from Almost Elites. Still together in one line.
Yeah, I think Almost Elites, the key thing for us on the day was to just, stay in front where you can see what's happening.
Yeah, policing.
And you're in a position where you can make a decision about the moves that occur.
Yeah, which ones to let go, which 100%. Ones to respond to. I mean, there's Bongani there. In short, I mean, some of the riders came back from Maluti. So they bring Maluti form or Maluti fatigue, depending
whichever way you look at it.
Yes.
They've had a good rest, I must say, after the big Maluti.
Yes.
A lot of the guys just came and put their bikes away for a few days.
Okay, Gerald decides to launch here from the front of the peloton. Still no reaction.
Are those 2 still up ahead?
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess it would mean he's trying to bridge across to his teammates. I think they might have been swallowed in the bunch. I don't know.
Yeah, I see the figure of Tabang in the front of the peloton. So I think they have been swallowed and a counter attack from ECC, which has actually now forced a little split from the peloton.
Interesting. If you think of it, it's their 3rd attack. It's almost as if they saying, listen, today there's going to be no peace. There's going to be attack after attack today.
I think that's pretty smart and I love it, because that is racing and they're using their numbers to full effect.
100%.
So Scooter's now coming. This is the first time we see Scooter since the KOM.
Yep. Gerard is putting down the hammer there. He's quite a strong rider, hey?
Yo, let's get like look at how strung out this peloton is. One single file. So there's no bunching. So this tells me the pace here definitely high.
We're seeing Brian, we're seeing Khoni, we're seeing Voice, we're seeing Vinny, we're seeing Tseho.
There's Brian, Mazola, David, Sbu, Lizo, Mxolisi. One long line strung out under the impetus of Gerard
from ECC,
followed by Khoni.
I love how ECC is riding. I think they are present and they are saying, listen, we are the hosts here. Let's give you a feel of how we ride. Let's give you a feel of what we can do.
Yep.
Almost deletes there, battling to climb.
But I mean,
it gets a little steep here.
To credit that, I mean, you did a lot of work.
Yeah, right? And I think we brought it back again there, back to the bunch, and it's
yeah. So I mean, now that Gerald has peeled off, you can see the bunch grouping again. It's getting relaxed, which is opportunity for another counter attack. In actual fact, right? So what you want to do is try and keep the pace high to limit some of these attacks. Steven coming to the front from 189. He's saying, let's rotate, guys. The powerful Tlotlo, bringing his mountain bike experience here on the road. Do you think on conditions like this that has any benefit?
Definitely. I think people always say that a kilometer on the mountain is probably equivalent to 5-6 on the road. And I think with all the training is done off the road there, the technical route, particularly Cape Epic, which is a very tough race. And I think he's definitely being well prepared with his mountain bike for the road. I think the road becomes a lot more seamless when you're a mountain biker.
And I think speaking to him, remember he went to, I think, Belgium to ride with Quickstep at some point. So
great opportunity there. Big ups for Exaro for giving the kids the opportunity to expose them to such. Again, it's just very high pace. It seems to have some stability, which I think is gonna last for only a few minutes.
As you speak, we see an attack from Mazola. I think he immediately looks back to see who's following. I see Voice now looking who's gonna chase this down, but doesn't seem like anyone's interested.
I think Steven 189 exchange responding there. And you can see 189, they playing Steven, they're playing the Steven card, and the likes of Sbu are chilling there, the likes of David are chilling in the peloton, and I think they're preserving their men for much later.
Yeah,
and they
which is quite smart, and also just relying on other teams to do the chasing instead of wasting their own energy. Okay, we've got Mazola still up ahead.
Who is this pulling? I think trying to bring back Mazola. Behind him is Gloglo and Voice.
Yeah, forgive us if we miss some of the names here. Obviously we don't know everyone, but we definitely appreciate a comment, just letting us know. Gerard goes.
Gerard attacks. Look at how clever he does it.
Yeah.
He comes, he pulls right to ensure that he doesn't bring any baggage across to his mate, and he does a clean bridge across.
No one on his slipstream, and making sure that he's not bringing anyone to his teammate, as you said. So Mazola's going to have company in a few moments. So I think he's waiting now for Gerald to catch up so they can start working together.
Again, another attack and breakaway of ECC up ahead. I think they're trying to say, we're going to use these breakaways to control the game, and we're going to be in charge. And I think they're probably using these attacks, these small breakaways, to tire the men in the peloton. And I think their key riders are probably in that peloton as well. Yeah. And they are aware of the strategy, relaxing, they're eating, they're drinking, and getting ready for the key moments.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, to your point here, obviously I think there's a select few teams that are working in the front. So, by ECC keep on attacking and counter-attacking, it obviously forces the same people to do the chasing, which obviously at some point they'll get tired. Well organized WAFA. There's obviously a little water stop for
they're
the
stopping
riders.
for a banana. Voice from Vaki, the chairman, doing some work.
We know the damage that voice can do.
Very powerful rider, and you can see him upping the pace. And behind him is Ronnie, who's off the saddle, hopping. I'm not sure if he's enjoying himself dancing or if that's just his style of riding. And again, we have Ronnie constantly in front, constantly pulling and just making sure that, you know, he has a big effect on the outcomes of the day.
Yeah, you can see Voice had plans for this little riser here. He wanted to do some damage, and he's already done that damage. There's a bit of a gap from Hloni to Roni here, which is being closed down by Scooter, which actually confirms maybe that
they're not working together.
They're not in the same team.
They're not in bed together. Interesting. Look at the damage Voice is causing at the back there. Riders are falling off.
Yep.
Riders are falling off.
Scooter coming in to help maybe, or just to make sure that this break goes. And I mean, you know, looking from a distance, the very key riders are in this break. Tlotlo, Tejo, Scooter, Voice, Ronnie, and I think I see the figure of Sbu there at the back of the peloton.
Yes, that's him. That's him. I think this is a dangerous combination.
Yeah, they shouldn't let this go.
Because if you look at this combination, the only team that will be left to fix this would be almost elites.
Yep.
Is Vugani here?
No, they're not. They're not represented. That's why Hloni is pulling there at the back. That was also in this little breakaway.
Yeah, that would be quite an ideal combination to take to the sprint line. Okay, I don't think, again, Hloni is putting down the hammer saying, listen, you guys are not going anywhere.
Yep. Very consistent from Hloni. I think Scooter's trying to reduce this little breakaway even further, maybe. Still him in front pulling.
Very aero, very aero. I think the science says over approximately 70% of your resistance to motion on the bike is wind. And so I think he understands that it's quite key that you play to the wind and do everything in your power to pierce through the wind.
Yep. Okay, they're about to cross a intersection here after Circuit Boss.
Someone's preventing this break from going. Bongani from Vugani. Stay. Beats. Cabello. Lizo. All the riders are here. I must say, it would have been great to have attendance from the likes of Bazala.
Yeah, I mean, you remember Ephraim winning the yellow jersey 2 years ago.
Yes. And I think also we do have Imbe, who is riding in the B team.
Yes.
Big ups for them coming through.
Yeah. I really love the support that we're giving each other as teams, as clubs. It really shows unity. It really shows that we are coming together to achieve one goal.
I think this is the man that the peloton worries about. I think they wouldn't want to give him not even 10 seconds up ahead. I think he's a man that's respected and feared. He could potentially just time trial himself to the line. Again, Gerard is that, right?
That looks like Mazola.
Yeah, Gerard coming far right again.
Yep. So he's using the same tactics to attack, making sure no one's on his slipstream. And we've got, I think, 3 ECC members here in the breakaway. Again.
I think big ups for ECC for their tactic on the day. I think they're having a definite effect. And I think they seem to be mastering the cycling tactics.
Yep.
They're mastering racing tactics. You're looking at how Gerard is riding there.
Yeah, so I think this is probably...
He's fallen off. He's up ahead.
Yeah, I think he might have dropped here.
They seem to be
Interesting
distracted.
Interesting Vini's here. I would suspect, Vini to be the guy in the peloton resting and sitting on the couch, busy watching some action of his teammates going up ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, Scooter's doing a lot of the work himself, bringing this one back. He's followed by Voice.
His former chairman, Scooter, moved across from Vaki
Yeah.
to Team Siata. At the back there, we have Monde from Abakweli. It would have been great to have the whole team there. Monde didn't extend the invite, maybe.
Got lost in the mail. Okay, so the two riders are ahead.
Right turn.
Normally, this is a tailing wind section, which has a bit of some rolling hills that has opportunities for riders to break away.
Mandla from Almost Elite. Beats. Aslal Nawe in the midst. Tabang's ECC. Still there doing his job. I see Steven. I see Voice. I see Kotlo. Ronnie. I see Kamu. Vini. Shoni. Sbu. Debza Mrembula. Brian. Scooter pulling it in front. What a day. I think you're definitely having FOMO if you're not in this peloton.
Okay, Gerard again in the front. This looks very hard. I'm sure it is a high pace. Again, you can see the strategy for ACC is just to counterattack after counterattack, putting riders up ahead, making the peloton chase all the time.
You're just constantly seeing this white arm of Thorny in the front. He's definitely the pilot for that plane for the day. He doesn't mind sitting there in front. He's
but
got
interesting. What are his interests for the day? Does he have interest for? Okay, I think Mazola's trying to launch it here, and he's followed by very key riders. Tlotlo towards the front. Steven and Veni are following him. This will obviously string out the peloton quite hard. I think Kamo is also here represented. So we've got 3 ECC guys towards the front. Veni pulling through to work.
I see Steven from 189. I see Sbu from 189 joining. And I think Klotlo is also in the mist. And I think the peloton is not letting it go. They're saying, nope, not too quickly, not that easily.
It's just strung out, one single file.
Look at how strung out it is. You can see it seems to be a break there. It's constantly throwing some riders out.
And I think that's what you want. You want to take as little riders to the line as possible for the sprint. Okay, Voice doing what it does best. Hammering the entire time.
Keeping the pace high. He's saying, listen, if you're going to line up for WAFA, you better get your story straight. This is not a place where you just come and sit and get a high average speed to post on Strava. Yep. Women business here.
Yep.
You've got to earn your position in this peloton. Cloudlaw, again, look at how he sits. He's so composed. He's just piercing seamlessly through that wind, bending for an aero benefit there that he's getting.
Seems like a lot of riders are under pressure there. I think if you're at the back, you would think that you would be resting, but I think riders are under pressure here.
Yeah, I think Klotlo is moving to the right. They're saying, listen, guys, I need some help here.
Okay, there's a right turn that we're taking.
Right turn there. Sure, that's aggressive there. I think it's led by Ronnie, the man in red wheels.
And here's the chasing group here. I think Lizo and London at the back. Very, very short glimpse of them passing through that right turn.
Ronnie slowing it down. Trying to recover perhaps.
Yeah, could be.
Interesting that the break hasn't gone.
Yeah.
There's been multiple attempts.
We saw in the previous edition, this was where the breakaway actually happened to the sprint. And it was caused by wind. So maybe perhaps on this day, wind wasn't really a factor.
I think also Shoni from Vugani is quite instrumental and key rider in preventing these breaks from going.
Yes.
He's constantly there in front. He's putting down his foot, he's spending his watts. He's not afraid, not holding back. And he's making it difficult for these boys to get away.
I think for me, Gerard is doing an amazing job here for ECC. Possibly the man of the match for me so far. In just counter-attacking and disrupting the piece in the bunch and also just, sacrificing himself to work here and keeping that pace high.
And I think for 189 Exchange, the man Steven has got a flag up high there.
Yes. Always towards the front, always trying to respond to things.
I think Steven is probably that guy that doesn't want to miss out on a breakaway. And he's also pacing in front there. I think you would guess that he's working for Sbu.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, Sbu came second last year. So I think they've got a score to settle.
Hundreds. He's very hungry. Can you imagine the feeling of being second?
The disruptor. I'm going to start calling him the disruptor.
Who's behind him? I think there is that Brian from Vugani.
I can't really see, but it looks like a Vugani rider trying to give chase here.
Beautiful weather again there.
So the route here from this point on towards the sprint is they'll take a left turn at the circle
towards Samanco, where they're gonna face a very strong headwind.
There's always a headwind there.
Tabang is doing quite some work here to disrupt, right? It's almost as if he's going for it.
Yeah. He's committed here, so I think he's gonna have to see it through.
He's not even looking back. He's created quite a gap there, eh?
Yeah. So
Tabang,
riders,
the Virgin Actives cycling instructor there, I think lots of strength in those legs, lots of strength muscles from his classes that he does there. You can see, the work of that daily exercises that he does in the spinning classes.
Yep.
We can see it on the road here today.
Okay, ECC is pulling, so Tabang must have been brought back. So we're on a route to the sprint. On Samanco, headwind here. Riders in a single file, obviously trying to take shelter from whoever's pulling at that time being.
Voice seems to be communicating something there. He's there in front, keeping the pace high. Scooter sitting behind his former chairman. Behind him is Gamu. We have Gerald, and then we have Kloklo behind. Lovely streamline there from ECC.
Yep.
Tsecho behind him. We got a guy there from Soshanguve also in the mix.
Yeah.
Behind him, almost elites, Mkolisi. Really signed guy coming in from Durban. Very windy section this.
Okay, Voice is really putting in work here. You would think it's for Scooter.
I don't know.
Only they can tell us.
I don't know. You see the riders at the back, like hanging on there,
Yeah.
You can imagine all the surging you experience when you're there at the back.
This is a beautiful shot of the riders in front. Voice still doing the lion's share of the work. He's being helped out now by...
Wow, they've caught the guys up ahead.
Yeah, away for a while,
and
isn't
Brian.
it?
Wow.
They were away for a long time.
Big ups. You could see Vugani's Shoni moving to the back because Brian was up ahead, getting some rest there. So
Good team tactics.
My team is up ahead. I'm not going to do any work.
Okay, we've got a breakaway here of two that's headed to the sprint.
Wow.
Which is Voice and Tlotlo from ECC.
They've done quite some damage there.
There's a big gap.
Probably 20, 30 seconds at this point?
Yeah, I would say 20, 30 seconds definitely.
Voice seems to be carrying much of the effort though.
Yeah, so could be smart from Tlotlo just to sit on the wheel.
Rest,
Perhaps they've got their sprinter at the back, so they're not willing to work with this breakaway. So yeah, I mean, Voice has been pulling for a long time here. I think it would be good if you were to receive a little bit of help from Tlotlo, even if it's just 10 seconds.
Give him some relief, let him rest. But I think Voice is a very, very dangerous rider. I think he doesn't have that punchy sprint, but the thing with how Voice rides is that he can hold a very high pace for quite some time.
Yes.
And I think he knows he can't sprint, and he said, listen, I'm going to go up early.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep the pace high, and I'll possibly cross that line before Scooter gets there. I mean, obviously, assuming Scooter is not his mate for the day.
Yeah, so essentially he's working head-to-head with whoever's pulling in the peloton right now. And there's the peloton bringing them in.
Who do you think is doing the work to bring them back at this point?
Yeah, so I think, people who have interest in the sprint would be a Tlotlo, a Vugani, and maybe a 189 exchange.
Spoo, definitely.
So his team could definitely be in line to bring this back. Yeah, so I mean, still Voice doing a lot of work here. Tlotlo just sitting on the wheel, is trying to shake him off, but doesn't seem like Tlotlo's willing to come through there.
Tlotlo attacks. Tlotlo goes on an attack. He's saying, listen, I'm not going to work with you. I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to take this for myself.
This is so exciting to watch.
Seems to be blowing a gasket there.
So Voice now back on terms. Would it be, if he has the legs here, definitely would want to counter attack Tlotlo after that sprint.
Very interesting move there from Tlotlo. You would think that they'll work together with Voice, or perhaps he underestimated how far the line is from here.
I mean, there's still quite a distance to the line. You can I think there's panic here from the breakaway here, seeing that the peloton is getting closer and closer.
Constantly looking back. They seem to be communicating. I wonder what they're saying to each other.
Tlotlo's maybe tired. He's wanting Voice to come through. So that gasket definitely blew here.
You can see the peloton coming in aggressively. They're hunting them down.
This is stuff of Tour de France sprint stages that you see.
You can see they seem tired.
Yeah.
Voice constantly looking back. He's probably going to give it his last chance. And there he goes. Off the saddle. He puts down the hammer. And he says, I'm not going down without a fight. I'm going to try my best to get to the line before anyone else does.
Off the saddle, in the saddle, off the saddle. Who's here? I think this is the figure of Vini working in front here.
It will be interesting with his mate ahead.
Only a few meters to the line. Voice, can he make it? I think the sprint has started here at the back.
Very high cadence is running. He probably can see the line at this point.
Does he still have anything left?
He goes off the saddle. He gives it his all. Voice gives it his all.
He looks back. Does he have it? He only a few meters to the line. I think
from ECC coming in.
Pulling in there. Scooter decides to launch.
Scooter launches it. Voice is past. He loses him.
Smooth, very impressive sprint from him. Scooter kicks. And he kicks again.
Smooth tries to stick and crosses the line.
Scooter wins it. Scooter wins.
Is such a beast. Well done to Scooter.
Well done to him.
Well done to
very,
Scooter.
Very exciting sprint finish here.
Wow. Scooter just had to go for it. I thought that he would let his former chairman have a bit of a success there.
Absolutely. Some say he's a cannibal. He just eats everything.
Well done, Scooter. Off we go to the last bit. And straight up ahead, we've got Scooter. He's saying, listen, let's ride. I'm tired. Let's get this over and done with. I'm not going to sit back and pretend to be conservative. Let's race. And alongside, you've got Tlotlo following him. Off to a very aggressive start. I think this section has got a pretty much direct headwind here.
Absolutely. And I mean, Tlotlo, former winner of the sprint himself, and the current sprint winner pulling in the front here.
Eugene's almost leads in the mist now, sitting on Scooter's wheel here.
Yeah, back in the ride after suffering a puncture.
Who's there? That's Kamo attacking on the right there.
Meters after the regrouping after the sprint.
Again, you can see and appreciate the tactic of ECC.
Yes.
Constant attack and constantly trying to put men up ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, pretty hard headwind here, as you've mentioned. So perhaps a bit too early for Gamo to go. But again, maybe executing the team tactics here. Okay, I mean, Scooter's still the one doing her work to bring it back. I mean, Eugene, myself, wasn't willing to pull through here. For one, the pace was quite high. And secondly, you don't want to work with Scooter knowing what he can do, right? So
he's a monster. He rides elite. He's got an engine down there. I think he's quite a beast, to say the least. And you look at how he sits. Scooter is quite aero, making it very difficult to draft and making him, very efficient as a rider.
Yeah.
Look at him swaying from left to right there, making a snake out of the peloton.
So the catch has been made to Camo. So you can see the watts here. I mean, 400 watts isn't no child's play. Scooter's really trying to turn up the heat, forcing a split here. But peloton really strung out, if you were to call it a peloton, because it's really in pieces at the moment.
Monde sitting third wheel there, hanging on there. We've got Ronnie, we've got Tsecho, Lizzo in the midst. We've got Brian, Enos, almost leads is there. We've got Dau, we've got Ebza Rembula.
And followed by Vinny. See how it's strung out proper here by this man. How long can he go? That's probably the questions on everyone's mind. And I think there's a split here. There's a little bit of a split to what's left of the peloton, who is very, very tired at this point of the ride.
I think he's setting the pace high at this point. The man is saying, listen, I need a few people to help me get to the line. I want to get my key men set up as soon as possible. I'm not taking any weak riders with me.
There's weaving left to right. I think he's asking people to come through so they can start working, trying to shake off a few more people. Pretty interesting thing he's doing here. No one willing to come through and work with him.
Definitely, I think after taking 2 chases, he's just taken the sprint.
Absolutely, you don't want to work with the strongest rider in the field. That's what I believe in. That's the tactic I want to go with, unless it really makes sense. He is attacking now.
And I think what he's done at this point is made all the other opponents work together because they've now got a common enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody likes Scooter at this point.
Exactly. So he's found himself at the front of the race, and no one is willing to work with him. Keeps looking back to see who's coming through. No one seems to be willing to work with him.
Quite a big bunch here. I think make quite a successful breakaway here.
Absolutely.
I think the only team missing in this bunch at this point is 189. I think they need to make sure that they get a man across here. They don't want to miss this party. I think these are the quite key, very critical moments in this race, because going up steps, then you're looking at about 12 kilometers to the final line.
Yeah, massive effort from Tejo coming through to work.
Big effort from Tejo we are seeing here. He's sitting in front, he's composed, he's working.
This is the danger for working with a guy like Scooter. He's going to attack you and you're going to be left behind, right? So this attack probably put a few riders in the red.
Jeez, look at how he rides. Damn, he's aggressive.
Attacking close to 50 k's an hour. Okay, Tejo says, I'm not done working, so
let's do this again.
Yeah, lots of looking back, seeing who's coming through. Lots of weaving. So, I think the guys are probably tired at this point, having raced 100 kilometers at a high pace. Eugene coming through here. So, seeing there's a little bit of a gap, so might as well continue trying to make it work. And I think, going into a ride like this, you always want to ask yourself, what are you standing to benefit if you put your nose in the wind? So in this case, obviously, you're trying to make a split. And that's probably a good reason to start working.
Fantastic. A very ideal combination here in front.
Yeah.
I think at this point, you would only have 189 exchange doing work to bring this back. I think the conditions allow this break to just go seamlessly.
Or even Vaki, right? Because I mean,
controversially, yes. You're not sure if they would
exactly. Yeah, a little bit of a split here with 3 riders: Tejo, Eugene, and Ronnie. Just going off the front, and smart from the riders behind, forcing Scooter to do the work instead of doing it themselves, and being Scooter's domestic.
Tejo laying his arms on his handlebars, trying to be Arrow. He's sitting up front, and I think he's spending his watts there. He's saying, listen, I'm not afraid to work. I might be a one-man army. I mean, London's for farm are back at this point. He's doing work.
Yeah,
Big ups to Tejo.
For a small rider, I think Tejo's riding fantastically well in these conditions. He's still a junior, still lots to learn, still lots to gain from cycling. But very excited for Tejo and his future in cycling.
Looks like there's a break again there.
Yeah, so
what do you have left? We've got Xinity's Tejo, almost deletes Eugene. We've got Ronnie from ECC. We've got Scooter, Siata. We've got Dao from Azdal Nawe. Brian from Vugani is in the midst. I think you will probably then learn that the likes of Khoni was working for him. Is now finally ahead, trying to lift the flag for Vugani.
Yeah.
And behind him, a member from ECC.
So that's Mazola. No, that's Mazola and Veni. That's in this break now. Gerard is probably in a peloton. Tejo still pulling in front, asking for a little bit of assistance. As you can see, I mean, the speed here, 39 k's an hour in a headwind is no child's play. Okay, Ronnie's now pulling through. The peloton is not too far behind here, so
you can see Monde at the back. There seems to be doing work, trying to bridge back across to this group.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult with Ronnie and Scooter here.
Going up the steps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Tejo, is he sharing with some team?
I think that was Veni.
You can see the peloton is well in sight there.
Yeah, but as you said, I mean, only 189 should be chasing this down. Scooter now attacks. He's trying to shred a few more men from his breakaway here. This obviously forces everyone to respond here because no one wants to be left behind. Here's a little bit of a replay for what happened when Scooter attacked.
Dao is quite a strong rider. You know, he's been very conservative up to this point, and I think if you recall last year, he was also in that ultimate final break.
Yeah, so maybe he's trying to do the same this year.
Ooh.
Very, very strong attack from Scooter. I mean, again, 50 k's an hour in a headwind.
You see them passing the riders doing the shorter route there. You can see Kabuyelo's Matsimela crew there.
Yes.
Big ups to Matsimela in the team
for supporting,
there,
definitely.
And not just that, I think they're really doing great work from the cycling community for ladies, particularly in the black community. Shout out to Carol.
Carol's doing amazing things. Very, very proud of her.
Dao in front, putting down the hammer.
I think he's going again with a last year's strategy by making things hard on steps. Unfortunately, he doesn't have teammates here like he did last year. Scooter saying, let's rev it up.
Yeah, but I think, in this break, you've only got ECC having,
3 men.
Oh, they've got 3 men.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's 1 member per team, and I think it's pretty much a fair game in that sense.
Yeah. Mano a mano here.
You can see Scooter doing the bulk of the work, and I think that's what you expect at this point.
Absolutely.
People are saying we're not going to work for you.
So I think what's interesting here, is the wind condition. Obviously, the wind coming from the right, forcing a few riders like myself into the gutter. So you really had to either have the watts or try and hide yourself from the
there
wind.
You can see Tejo succumbing to the wind coming from the right there.
Yeah.
Guttering him.
Because obviously he did a very strong pull coming into steps. And I think when Dao and Scooter took over, they really upped the pace a bit too high. Okay.
Again, Tao is in front. He's laying down the watts. I think he's checking in with Scooter to say, listen, Scooter, I'm a contender here. You better look out for me as well. You know, he's not just trying to say, I'm going to sit on the wheel and survive this, but I'm going to compete and I'm going to race.
Yep. Yeah, so 41 k's an hour up steps. Still quite flat for the time being, but
you notice Vini has headed at a turn in front. He's being pretty conservative.
Yeah, so maybe relying on Mazola.
He's got teammates. He can afford to.
Exactly.
He can afford to relax.
Tejo's back. So Tejo's magically back in the front group. So he must have done a large pull here to come back. I wonder how he got back. Still Scooter.
How many have we left? Yeah, probably around about 8 riders.
Yeah, so there's 8 riders.
I think steps is quite it's the playground, you know, for a bloodbath there where men can be shaken off and it separates the men from the boys.
I think it really needs someone to be an all-rounder here, a person who can climb, a person who can pull on the flats, because it really allows everyone to play, like you say. Okay, we've got Scooter and Ronnie with a little bit of a gap here.
Effective tactics from ECC. They're using Ronnie to manage Scooter and throw the gaps while Vini relaxes at the back.
So there you go. Mazola was in front of Vini. They were trying to bridge this little attack from Scooter.
Brian from Vugani still in the mist. Mazola still there. Eugene from Almost Elites. We've got around about 8 riders left here up ahead, working together to make the break success. And I think Tao making great effort to bridge across. He's not letting anybody go.
No, he's not. I think he realizes Eugene might be a dead wheel and he decided to attack across. Very smart move, because you don't want to be chasing alone here. So there's 5 riders now.
Further downsizing. I think Scooter is the key rider here doing all the downsizing.
Yep.
He deploys an effort and then he looks to see how many riders are left. Deploys another effort. I think he's just trying to trim and making sure he has the best men to take to the line.
Yeah. So I think, the last 30 Ks was a game of attrition. The best only could survive here.
Big effort. We're seeing a gap forming here. Who's up ahead?
So that's Scooter and Veni, who are now at the front of the race, being bridged by Eugene, followed by Tao, who's chasing behind. Peloton nowhere in sight at this moment, because obviously the pace of Scooter is really quite high. Veni coming through to do his turn. So 4 riders up ahead now. Tao, Eugene, Scooter and Veni.
And of course, if you do the maths, the more riders fall off and the smaller the breakaway gets, the more powerful the peloton, and the threat comes from the peloton, because now if Vugani learns that their men have fallen, the likes of Khoni starts putting down the hammer, to bring back this breakaway.
Interesting moment here where Eugene didn't want to come through for a turn, with Venia showing that he's annoyed here.
You can see, I think, Azlali now is Tao
falling off here.
Falling off there. 3 men left here. We've got Scooter, we've got Vini and Eugene. And Eugene's sitting at the back here saying, listen, you guys are the pros, you do the work. And you can see Vini there flicking his arm saying, come on, dude, work. Breakaway is about sharing the load.
So he was telling me here, what am I doing in the break if I'm not willing to work? But I was like, I'm not going to work with you guys. You guys are clearly the strongest here. And it doesn't make sense for me to work. And they've got the biggest thing to lose here, being the favorites to win the overall.
Definitely, I wouldn't work for these guys as well, because I think the minute you go up ahead, putting down the hammer for them, they would seamlessly pass you. I think you're basically being given rope to hang yourself when you're asked to.
Absolutely.
And see Tao, a very strong rider. He's not giving up that easily.
Yeah.
He's still there in the mist, in the wind, with very little shielding, and he keeps on pedaling.
Yeah, and I mean, he was very close to closing the gap here. The gap just grew when Scooter went in front.
So 3 men left, and they seem to have caused quite a lot of damage here. Who's it gonna be?
Yeah, so clearly a game of attrition. Only the best survive. And then Eugene blows a gasket. That's day done. Okay, so we've got 2 riders now in the leading group. And let's see how far they can take it.
Good fight there from Eugene, we've seen. Going up against these 2 very, very strong riders. Now we've got the 2 of the best left.
Yeah.
And they seem to be doing more and more damage with the gap growing behind them. I think it seems these are the 2 men that are going to the line.
Yeah, I mean, they're working quite well together. They've obviously established a good working relationship between themselves. And they're willing to pull turns between each other.
Who's left in the peloton to try and bring this back? I mean, you still got the likes of Vaki, Voice probably there. You still got 189, Swoo. You still got Shoni, who's probably going to up his game now once he realizes that Brian has dropped off from the breakaway. Aslani Nawe as well might probably do some effort there to bring this back. But you know how it is in sports. It's not over until it's over.
Yeah, until you cross the line, it's really not over. Love the way Scooter rides, very aerodynamic. Obviously allowing little draft for Veni to get. At the same time, reducing the drag that he experiences.
I mean, these are the 2 very strong riders, and they are also quite key contenders in the elite category in the South African space. And I think they're pretty much colleagues that race together quite a lot.
Absolutely.
They're going up against each other today. There we see Scooter flicking his arm, saying, listen, I'm going to make sure we split this effort equally.
Yeah, if I was Vini here, I would work less with Scooter, knowing how powerful he is and how powerful his sprint is. So I would perhaps work a little bit less than him.
I think Vini is also trying to defend a podium second position to say, I don't want to piss off Scooter and let the peloton catch up, because he can probably outsprint the peloton and still take first place, leaving Scooter off the podium there. So it makes sense for him to work at this point.
That's a very interesting insight. So definitely makes sense for him to continue working here with Scooter. They're going to take a left turn here towards BP and joining Kliprefir, which means there's a change in wind direction as well.
They'll probably get to have a bit of relief, especially with all the properties and industrial areas on the right blocking off the wind that they were facing head on. Probably a chance here for them to even extend this gap.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're wondering what's happening in the peloton at this point.
Yeah, so I think the race situation now, we've got these 2 front 2. We've got a few chasers behind, and then we've got the peloton who's riding together to bring it back, or just to ride it in to the finish.
Oh, shout out to the organizers for blocking traffic there. You can imagine the complexity of these riders having to stop at this robot.
I think shout out to some of the drivers here who understand that there's obviously some event happening here, and they have the patience
to stop and let the riders go on ahead. The gap seems to be growing. Probably around about a minute, if not more, at this point. 2 guys are working well together. Peloton is nowhere in sight.
Yeah, I think the peloton has given up here because It's been a hard day, to be honest. I mean, riding 110 kilometers to this point at a very high pace, 38 kilometers an hour, with a few drags and hills along the way.
Peloton's been chasing Scooter the whole day from the time the gun went off, and he's still up ahead.
Okay, so we've got two chasers here.
189 in the mist. Steven has managed to bridge across, working with Eugene. Are they going to join the two men ahead?
I think it's too late at this point. I mean, the front two are clearly the strongest, and quite working quite well together. So
yeah, impressive bridging there from Steven.
Very. I mean, he came out of nowhere. He wasn't in the initial 8 that broke away, so he must have done a massive effort to try and bridge back.
These boys are cycling. They are cycling. Yeah. They're creating that gap. They're working together. They're taking turns. And it looks like they're making good success.
Yeah, so they're extending that gap to the two chasers as well as to the peloton, who I think is probably out of it at this point in time. I don't think anyone from the peloton, unless these two blow up completely, can win it.
Vini's got quite some power there. He's laying it down.
Very composed as well. He doesn't look like he's working at all. But trust me, he's putting in the power.
Scooter coming across, helping him. You can see the way they are riding. They are two strong riders. They definitely deserve to be the key riders competing for the final yellow jersey.
Who do you think is going to take it?
Big question.
You already know the answer to that.
Definitely, but I think the likes of Vini has got a lot of potential, given that he has some legs.
Yes.
He has some legs. Number one, he hasn't been working much, throughout the day, but most importantly, Vini is more hungry.
Yeah.
To at least take something home.
Yeah. So I mean, ECC being the host here have a little bit of pressure to try and
look behind them. The peloton is nowhere in sight.
Absolutely nowhere.
They seem to have gotten well over a minute of a gap here. And I think at this point, the line is around about 5 to 6 kilometers at most.
I think they're probably just having a coffee ride.
This is it. It's between the two of them.
Yep. So at this present moment, I mean, they're over the big, not big climb, but I mean, there's a little bit of a riser here.
I think it's the last climb for the day.
Yeah, up until, they take a right turn on Swartkopis, which would lead them 2 kilometers to
the line.
To the line, yeah. Still working quite well together. I mean, Vini's flicking there.
I think at this point they can even afford to drop the pace and rest.
I don't think Scooter wants to do that.
And prepare. I think Veni is in a position he could probably put in an appeal to say, listen, Scooter, we drop the pace.
Yes.
Let's rest.
Yes. Then we can sprint to the final 500 meters.
Because they've done the damage. I mean, the peloton is nowhere inside. There's definitely no competition at this point.
I think there's maybe bragging rights on the table here to say, they extended a 2-minute gap to the peloton.
Exactly.
So that's why they're going as hard as they can here. Very exposed roads here. I mean, it's in the south, very windy, very little shelter from the wind. So they're exposed to everything here.
You notice that Scooter's got to flick Vini into taking a turn. And I think Vini is also saying, listen, I'm going to take as much of a draft and rest as I can.
Yeah.
Until you tell me that, listen.
Yeah, so he's not coming through proactively.
Exactly.
He's waiting for Scooter to say, okay, now I'm tired.
Where are you, dude?
Yeah. So.
And I think Vini also doesn't want to piss him off because he could attack and give him problems.
Yes. I think it's very smooth riding from these two right now. There's no surging, there's no attacking. They just want to ride it in up until the last few 100 meters. I think they understand that it's quite a distance to go off now.
WAFA. 3 kilometers or so to the line. We've got Scooter from Siata up ahead, followed by Vini. They're working in front in the breakaway. There we've got Steven from White 9 Exchange, followed by Eugene. They're working together here, perhaps trying to see if they can bridge the gap. And I think at this point, it's quite key and it's good that they continue working together.
Yeah.
Steven attacks!
Yeah, so Steven puts in a little bit of a dig here to try to shake Eugene off. But I think, they're obviously riding for third place at this point.
And I think it is quite important to continue riding no matter what, because we've seen instances in cycling where there's a crash up ahead,
Yes.
something happens,
Yes.
and you don't want to give up easily or too quickly.
Always ride to the line.
Here we are, 2 kilometers to the line. I can imagine the tension here. I can imagine what's going in Vini's mind. He's probably very nervous. He's probably asking himself, do I have the legs to finish this off?
Scooter's probably licking his lips here.
Is Scooter tired? Scooter is saying, listen, I might take all 3 home.
Yeah, very, very, very suspenseful ride here. Vini being in front.
You can see they've dropped the pace now. They're trying to gather the strength for the ultimate sprint.
I think they're using this as a recovery. I think Vini's flicking Scooter through. Only now does he come through.
I think at this point they can ride 2 abreast.
Obviously not effective. I mean, they're not sheltering the other rider from the wind, but
now this is the moment we've all been waiting for. This is where we're going to see who's taking it.
Yeah.
And I think Scooter is very, very confident. He's already got 2 in the bag, and he's just trying to test and find out, determine if he can get all 3 home. On the other hand, Vini is very hungry. He's thinking, I've got to take something home.
Vini has to represent here. And I think they're upping the pace here, getting closer to the line. It's getting quite tense. I think there's a bit of games that they're playing now. Riding to abreast, seeing who has more strength. I don't think Vini wants to be in front. He's trying to slow it down.
This is the final moment. I think he's getting off the saddle to try and give his muscles some relief. He's trying to gather some strength. He's trying to make sure that he has all the tools he can gather to give this his all. And you can see Scooter relaxing at the back, saying, let's see how this goes.
Vini's flicking Scooter through, but he's not coming through. So they can afford to play these games. They've got a big enough gap.
And I think Scooter has got a score to settle with what happened last year. Mazola catching him off guard and launching like a rocket to take it. So and there Vini takes it.
Vini goes.
Vini goes.
He looks back.
Vini goes.
Scooter still on the wheel. Vini looks back. He starts to sprint. Scooter launches. Oh, Vini.
Scooter goes. Scooter Peppers goes.
Scooter wins the overall.
Scooter,
what a ride from the young man. What a
Vini
fantastic
throws his
ride.
bike. He's tired. It's been a hectic day on the saddle. It's Scooter once again from Siata.
Well done to Scooter. Really, really strong ride from him, and he takes all 3.
Power, power, power.
There's the rest of the peloton coming in now. Smooth, Debza.
Some key riders, Mazdali Nawe coming in. Rest of the peloton there, we see Brian. There you have it. WAFA
3.0. Until next time.
History. Cheers. Thanks for watching.